Rams are playing the Cardinals again. It's a rematch. We arrived at week 10. The Cardinals are coming to SoFi Stadium, Victor. So you know who we had to call? The OG, triple OG, compa, Jose M. Romero from the Arizona Republic Cardinals beat reporter. And Jose, we just saw you, I want to say a month ago, not that long ago, but we're glad to have you back on. But Jose, there's a big mystery going around here at House of Horns. Jose M. Romero. What's the M for? I already asked you because I'm a good reporter like that.
Yep.
But Victor's been wondering, the people at House of Horns have been wondering, what's the M stand for in the middle name?
The M is for Miguel. There's no like real significance or rhyme or reason to it. There's no I have no idea why my parents went with that for the middle name. I have the same first and last name as my dad, but his middle name is Manuel. And in fact, his birth name is Joseph. But at some point, he became like super politicized, and said, I don't want to be Joseph no more, man. I want to be Jose. So I guess probably during that time in his life, they were like, well, if we ever have a boy, we're going to name him Jose. So there you go. That's it.
There you go. That's a good story. And I think you guys like to go with the M's a lot for the middle names. It sounded like there from the history.
That's it. Because I'd like to be able to say I'm a junior or I'm a, Jose Romero II, but we don't have the same middle name, so I guess that doesn't really qualify me. But I tell you what, my dad is so like well known back home. Like he's really done a lot in the community, and he's and I know this is way off topic, but he's just done so much and is so well known up there in the Latino community that I kind of had to differentiate myself, like make my own name, I guess, and I did, and I have. But he was always Jose Romero, and then so I just threw the M in there because now when people, because I swear, even to this day, people are like, hey, I didn't know that your dad wrote newspaper articles. So yeah, that's what it is.
Look at that. That's even deeper on the story of why the M. So I appreciate that, given the insight. And the funny thing about it, Jose, when you left here on the podcast, I started calling Victor by his middle name. Every time I introduce it, it just sounds better as like a novela, like a character in a novela. Yeah. Victor Javier Corona, mine's Gilberto Antonio Manzano. So I think these are all, it sounds better. So Victor, if you have a story for your middle name, feel free to share.
Marco Antonio Solis.
I actually,
right? Especially if you have like a novela announcer, guys, like.
Yes.
Some guy with a deep voice is announcing everybody on the show.
Yeah, no, it's a great way we should kind of use that going forward, Gilbert. But my story actually has to do when I was at CSUN, my professor there, Jose Benavides, he told me, he's like, hey, do you have a middle name? And I was like, yeah, my name is Victor Javier Corona. And he's like, you know what? That sounds better. You should use that more. And if you go to my profile on my Twitter, ever since he told me that, I've used it, and honestly, it helps. It's helped me.
Yeah. See, I like that. I like the middle name. I'm glad we established that here. But at the end of the show, we have one more question for you that Victor will ask you, because it's one that really kind of grinds my gears. But going off of that, it's a transition. I'm actually getting good at this hosting stuff here. But grinding my gears. Why is it every time I see Kyler Murray going viral, he's mad at somebody? He's always angry. He's shouting at people, at Kliff, DeAndre Hopkins, teammates. That's the first question I have here. Is there a point for frustration level that Kyler Murray just can't, control right now? Or me? It's just me looking at the Twitter on my phone. You're there every day, Jose. Miguel Romero, I'm just do that the whole time. What is the frustration level like for Kyler Murray? Does Kyler Murray even have a middle name? I don't know. I forgot the question, but how is he doing?
He does. I don't remember what it is, but he does. He's a competitor, right? He's a pretty fierce competitor. He's one of those guys that he even says it. He's like, I want to win. I want to win all the time. Win at everything. And I think getting the contract extension kind of emboldened him more. It made him more like vocal, kind of gave him a little bit more courage to be that guy who can get in people's faces, and to be a guy who's not afraid to do that. And I think guys appreciate it for the most part. I know DeAndre Hopkins does, and Hopkins has been around for a long time. So, a lot of that, but the coach and the player can say in press conferences, oh, it happens during the game because it's, the heat of the battle or whatever. But I mean, there's has to be a degree of frustration there on his part. I mean, he wants to win so bad, and this team just isn't winning, and they look bad losing. So I have to feel like there is something that underlying here that's really frustrating him about the way this season has gone. And that kind of leads him to be as outspoken as he is, and because he's trying so hard to get victories.
Jose, talking about D-Hop, how has he been since he came back? How has the offense looked since he's been back? And also, how has the addition of Robbie Anderson, how has he done?
Well, Robbie Anderson is just, I mean, that's one of the big mysteries. This is a guy that's been here for about a month already and has one catch for -4 yards. And you bring a guy in who has the size and the experience, a guy you can maybe take deep shots with because he has the speed, a guy you can throw jump balls to because the only other guy is AJ Green, and he's basically been phased out of the offense completely. So, they have that vertical threat in him, and they don't use him. They're just not using him. I mean, I think they've targeted him maybe, 8 to 10 times over the last few games. And it's almost like, okay, let's see if we can throw the ball to Robbie and see if he can get it, and that's what it comes down to. He's not really running like any super special route or anything. He's just going downfield. They're trying to chuck it up to him. And last week, Kingsbury said, we're gonna try to force feed the ball to him a little bit more. They really didn't, against the Seahawks. So that's Robbie Anderson, a guy. I mean, there's really nothing more I can say. He just hasn't done anything. And when it comes to Hopkins, huge difference maker. I mean, they probably have thrown to him, double-digit times in the last couple of games. They just keep. I mean, he's really the focal point. He's really what they have on offense. He is the weapon right now. Really, nobody else is producing a whole lot. That's why they're 3-6, or one of the many reasons they're 3-6. And the Seahawks were smart. They said, look, we know you're not really going to run the ball on us because you don't have a great running game. So we're just going to, bracket too high against Hopkins. And he caught a TD, but after that, finished with 36 yards in the game. And before that, he had 200-yard games and double-digit receptions against the Vikings and the team they played before that. So, hey, Hopkins is great in the locker room. Great player, obviously, on the field. He makes a huge difference. But, I think I would think if I'm the Rams, I just do what the Seahawks did, and they're probably going to have success.
Go ahead, Vic.
Oh. No, I was gonna ask. Can you kind of shed light on the whole Steve Keim and Patrick Peterson, what happened a couple of weeks ago? I know it wasn't in our questions, but I started thinking about it just because of what's happened lately with the Cardinals.
Well, Peterson was obviously he was a really great player here for a number of years. He was a Pro Bowler. Started his career here, was a high draft pick, and had a lot of success. But then when it was time to when free agency came and he had a chance to go somewhere else, I guess he felt really disrespected by the Cardinals, that they kind of cast him aside and were like, we'll resign you, but we'll resign you at this number and not really what you're worth in his mind. So Patrick Peterson is a guy clearly who is really driven by being slighted like that. So in his mind, he felt disrespected. He went to Minnesota. Obviously, playing against the Cardinals, his former team, was a huge deal for him. He celebrated everything, even plays he wasn't even involved in. He's out there celebrating. So clearly, he had an axe to grind against the Cardinals, against Steve Keim, the general manager. Against the organization. The Cardinals kind of played it off like, man, we don't even know what this guy's talking about. They denied whatever the allegations that he made, and they said, we were really glad that he played for us. And Kingsbury took the high road and says, look, he's a great player, and he has a right to talk because he's got a ton of experience in this league. So I think Peterson probably made a bigger deal of it than it actually was. That being said, if a guy feels that motivated and it feels that upset, the way that things went down. And if that's what it takes to get him going, shoot, Patrick Peterson's having a pretty good year. So
Yeah, Jose, I feel like we're asking a bunch of drama questions. Victor likes drama because he has a novella name. So yeah, we go with Kyler Murray being mad into the feud here. But I think we have one more drama question later. I'll let Victor handle that. He's a novella insider here on
Yeah,
House of
no,
Horns.
yeah.
But go
Last
ahead,
time,
Victor.
yeah, last time we had you on, we talked about Isaiah Simmons, and I saw that he had a pick six against the Saints. How has he developed, and has he turned into the guy that people expected him to be when he was drafted number 8 in the 2020 draft?
I think he's getting there, better and better every week since the beginning of the year. They move him around a lot. He plays inside, he plays outside, and linebacker. He covers guys like a cornerback. He pays the price sometimes when they put him on the tight end, the first tight on Travis Kelce in week 1. Boy, he just got lit up. And then they had him against the Seahawks, 3-headed monster of tight ends, and he struggled against them too. I think the Seahawks hit like 4 tight end screens for some big gains, and I know Simmons was involved in the coverage on at least 1 or 2 of them. So the coverage part, the pass coverage, I think is a work in progress. The tackling and the athleticism and the playmaking, I mean, that's there. That's there for him. He's that good. To be honest, the defense has just been overworked. I mean, they just looked tired last week when the game was on the line and they needed to make stops. They couldn't do it. In the fourth quarter, they just got run down by Kenneth Walker and the Seahawks running back and the offense. They just wore them down the stretch there. And this is a defense that has really carried this team, pretty much all season because the offense has been so inconsistent and so, uncreative. Is that a word? Uncreative? Lacking creativity.
It works.
But that's, that the defense has been everything. And, for them to have a bad last couple of games is probably a sign that, look, we're overworked. I mean, we need the offense to help us out. So that's where that is.
Well, Jose, the Cardinals don't have to worry about a ground game for the Rams because they haven't found it all year. They've been pretty bad on the ground. They can't figure out who's their lead back. They have 5 cooks in the kitchen and they can't pick one. So don't worry about that. You're listening to the show and you're a Cardinals fan. Don't worry about the ground game there. But on the flip side, with this defense, and I'm actually surprised you're saying this defense is actually doing better than the offense. You think from the outside looking in, it'd be more of the running game. I mean, the running show of Kliff with Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins. So that's an interesting kind of point of view. But I guess I ask you this because when you play the Rams and you have a stout pass rush or one Pro Bowl pass rusher, you usually win the game because they can't protect all year. So, what's the pass rush like here? I'm not even sure if JJ Watt's healthy. I should do my research. But is there something going on here with the front that they could make Matthew Stafford be uncomfortable out there?
Well, I mean, they've had a couple good games, but they've had a lot of games where they haven't really shown up. And Geno Smith had all day to throw. And even the times that they flushed him, they got him a couple times. I think they got him, 3 times. But even the times when he was flushed out, he was able to turn it upfield and get big gains. The Seahawks just call better plays. The Cardinals' play calling has been a huge issue, but that's another story. That's an offensive thing. Defensively, the pass rush is one of those things for the Cardinals that has been lacking. And JJ Watt he's a guy who's gonna give you everything he has, and then it's not always going to result in the sacks. Maybe it'll turn into play a different way, or he'll help with the tackle, or force the team to do something else. But let's be honest. I mean, the guy's closer to the end of his career. He's not gonna be as effective and dominant as he used to be, and then that makes it incumbent on the other players to step forward, and guys like Marcus Golden and Victor Dimukeji and some of the other guys, the outside backers, they're missing one of their best pass rushers, Dennis Gardeck, who's injured. So that again, there's a long list of things that have not gone well. There's a long list of things that just have underperformed, and pass rush is one of them.
And Jose, I got one kind of mental question here, like the mental element, and I asked this because I saw it with the Rams and the 49ers. They've lost 8 straight to them in the regular season. And when they fell behind to the 49ers, the Rams just had a mental collapse. They weren't in the game. They're like, here we go again. So they're going to be on the different side of this rivalry here with the Cardinals because the Rams tend to have the Cardinals number. And I know the Cardinals beat the Rams last year at SoFi, so maybe there's some confidence there. But say maybe the Cardinals are falling behind and they're already 3-6. They know the history with the Rams. Do you think that could be an issue where they're getting frustrated? They're giving up. They keep thinking about the rivalry too much.
It might. I mean, they went to Minnesota and they haven't won in Minnesota since before they were the Arizona Cardinals. So I mean, we're talking about the last time they beat Minnesota there in Minneapolis was when they were the St. Louis Cardinals. So again, that streak continued, but they find a way to stay in games and make them close. But I do think the Rams have some sort of mojo going here. The playoff game is really the one that sticks in the craw of the Cardinals. When training camp first came, when training camp started, the players were asked, does that loss and the way you guys lost that game and how badly you performed, is that still, on your minds? And most of the players were like, hey, yeah, of course. That was kind of what fueled us in the offseason to try to improve and be a better team. So there's definitely no lack of motivation to beat the Rams. But that being said, what's the expression? The Rams live rent free in their head sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it. I think two teams that are struggling here, obviously. Someone is going to stay in the race for the division, and the other team is probably just going to be faded out for good.
Jose, keeping up with the novela theme here for me, I wanted to ask you about, we've seen how problematic things have been with the organization. And I know that Kliff Kingsbury and Steve Heim signed extensions during the offseason. Do you see any of them, their job being in jeopardy once the season ends, if the trend continues as they're going right now?
Definitely. I mean, that's a great question, and that's something I had written down before we started the show. Like, that is the topic right now. I mean, all over the radio and the chats and the podcasts and stuff. Why did the Cardinals owner Michael Bidwell sign these guys, Keim, Murray, Kingsbury? Why did they get signed to extensions when they really haven't proven a whole lot, especially in the case of Kingsbury and Murray? Obviously they went to the playoffs last year. There was a feeling that they could build off of that and the momentum would carry over. It hasn't. And now you have all the naysayers and the doubters, and there are a lot of them here for sure. I mean, Phoenix is a pretty laid back place, but Cardinals fans, they're letting this team have it. And there's a lot of there's been talk all year about Kingsbury being fired in the middle of the season. Two teams have already done it. We've seen it. So, but I think that Michael Bidwell kind of has to. He's already kind of made his bed with this, right? He's signed these guys to extensions. He's got to roll with them. I think if this continues at the end of the year, maybe we see changes. But I definitely think they play out the season this way. But this team's got to get better, and they have to show improvement because there has to be some sort of return on the investment, and right now there isn't.
Wow, so it's a lot of negative energy going around there in Glendale, Arizona. I feel like Jose, and we'll end with this. It's a fun one. This Victor had a nice poll that he posted on the COMPAS on the Beat Twitter account, and I guess I could be the negative one here. I'm not a big fan of hearing constant Christmas music all season long or holidays. So I'm not gonna be a Grinch here and say, hey, you can't play Christmas music for at all time. I'll just say, hey, just don't do it before Thanksgiving. So the debate was, when is it okay to start playing Christmas music? Is it after Halloween, which I don't think it is, December 1st, around Thanksgiving? When do you think is appropriate time to get in the cheery spirit?
I'm with you. I think Thanksgiving and thereafter. Anything before that is too early. It's too excessive. I mean, come on, man. When you got kids and you have work and you have all this other stuff, that's the last thing you're thinking about is, oh, let's find the Christmas music station. Oh, let's go to Starbucks and get the pumpkin latte. Whatever. It's like, why? So I'm not a terrestrial radio listener per se too much anyways, but But I would definitely say, and my wife will totally take the opposite viewpoint. She'll put on Christmas music on October 28th.
Wow.
You know, but for me, no way, man. No, it's got to be it. The holiday season is Thanksgiving, football on Thanksgiving. Then we can play the Christmas music whenever, all the time, whatever. And then right up until December 26th for all I care.
See, that's why we like you so much here in House of Horns, right, Victor? He has the right answer.
Yeah, Jose Miguel Romero, before you go, please plug anything you got coming up. Where can people find you, and let us know what stories you're working on?
I appreciate it. Romero Jose M, Twitter. I'm going to Mexico City here in a couple weeks with the Cardinals when they play the 49ers. I'm really, really, really excited for that, you guys. You know, it's a place I've always wanted to go to. It's like going to be sort of like returning to roots. Like I think my roots in Mexico are, you know, I don't have many family left in the country anymore, I don't think. But I think it will be a very emotional visit for me because I've always felt really strong about that heritage. And to be able to go there and see, you know, the Aztec period, the ruins and the pyramids and the history and the Museo de Antropología and all the different stuff, you know, that really is the root of my background, I think is going to be a very special experience for me. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. Plus, it's the start of the World Cup. So I'm going to be down there for Mexico's first World Cup game. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be wild with how much they love football down there.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. We're excited for you, Jose Miguel. Just introduce yourself every time you're down there, Jose Miguel, every time you're in Mexico City. But we appreciate the time, Jose Miguel, and, you know, enjoy that trip. You got one more. I'll see you in LA at SoFi Stadium. Again, I appreciate the time.
All right, guys. Take care. Have a good one.